Now, Fakulem, I want to call on somebody who oversee the economy and the country, where His Excellency don't put in charge of the country money. Recently, I didn't really talk to one Fakul from the other political party. I think, say, inflation below 50-something%. Now you don't count to single digits. You want to argue. I say, well, where the inflation below 50-something%? You mean the cost the 50-something%. Now we don't count to single digits, you say you don't believe that. The same data where they use, where they calculate, where be they 50-something, and the same process and data that they don't use, where they calculate, where they say, it is single digits. But now because of the calmness and the exceptional brilliance with which this gentleman don't oversee the economic sector. We grow in the country over 4%, consistently we continue to expect that growth. So you and our government minister, you know, say when I call this man, you for clap, you for join me. You and our head of MDA, when you go to finance, you know, say this man who call him, an important man, you for clap. The rest of we, as citizens of this country, will also be grateful for him for the good work they do. Sheku Ahmed Antamadi Bangra, Minister of Finance.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Brigadier Richard Dr. Julius Malabio, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on established protocols. On behalf of the Ministry of Finance, let me start by extending deep gratitude to Your Excellency for dynamic leadership that you have demonstrated in championing the delivery of development in this country. You have enthusiasm that is unwavering. Your commitment is deep in achieving targets that you have established in your National Development Plan. And it is very clear that you want to see us clear in your vision, deliver on them in a way that includes everybody in this country. When you visited the World Bank, which I believe is the genesis of what we are launching today, you are very clear on it, despite your original flagship of investing in the people, which is the human capital. So here today we are purely your vision to tackle those core developmental challenges that we believe have been there with us since independence and we have not been able to tackle. That's the foundation, and I really want to appreciate your leadership. I want to thank my colleague, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, but also the World Bank country manager and team for inviting us to this launch today for three critical components. I think the diagnostic itself, the development program for water and sanitation in the country, and the projects that's going to emanate from those work. And I believe the World Bank, like you said, Your Excellency, is a trusted partner of this country, a dependable one, and we'll continue to work together with them in delivering on the needs that we have for development. Our government, through your vision, Your Excellency, remains fully committed to scaling up access to water and potable water, but also providing safe sanitation and for our people, and the infrastructure associated with that, including services for hygiene to the rest of the population. It is along this line that the Ministry of Finance worked hand in hand with the Ministry of Water Resources in ensuring that we secure firm commitment from the World Bank in financing the sector. The Minister will speak about the program and how it's going to extend over the years. But we are sure that with your commitment and your vision and your ask from the bank and the bank commitment, these resources are commitment. And the Ministry of Finance recognizes truly the difficulties that we face and the need for us to dedicate investment, as actually espoused by the Deputy Minister, Water Resources. And when they did the diagnostic, they realized that we really need to coordinate investments for water delivery in Sierra Leone, but also sanitation delivery in Sierra Leone. And we do acknowledge that these challenges do exist and the need for us to really focus investment. And over the years, what the Ministry of Finance has been doing slowly but surely, ourselves as a government demonstrating our commitment to the support from partners. So within the budget as well, we've been funding through your vision investment in different areas in the country as a way of laying the foundation for their investments. We've been doing direct budget support into construction of modern lab facilities in Sierra Leone. We've been funding Salwako, but also even Guma as well, in upgrading and expanding water systems across the country, especially 6 water systems in 6 districts. They haven't completed, but I think we have made various progress in ensuring that those investments will be concluded in the coming years. I know they are at various stages, 80%, 90%, 60%, but these are the commitments we are doing on our own. As the government works with partners to improve access to clean water, it is also important, very important, as Abdul noted, for us to ensure that we ensure the financial sustainability of the sector. So in the diagnosis that we have done and the development projects program that have been established for the next 10 years, and the project that is going to be done, will be involved in undertaking reforms to de-risk the water sector. And the de-risking of the water sector means, along the value chain for delivery water services, which is generation, transmission, reticulation, but also distribution, and ensuring that you have a very efficient and effectively run utility systems. These projects and these programs will be unfolded and delivered over time. I like the word that Abdul said. We want to avoid implementing charity investment in Sierra Leone, charity development. So the development are costly. Water is essential. It cannot be free. It takes money to generate water. It takes money to transmit or reticulate and distribute water. We have to imbibe through reforms the culture of harnessing and paying for water. It requires us to be able to ensure that the water system and the institutions are reformed in a way that people know that these services to generate are not for free. So this project that we are introducing in the country is a project that is going to be involved in reforms that are going to change that culture, build the infrastructure, and ensure that people pay for it and pay for it so that we don't waste. I like the analogy of spaghetti pipes and water being wasted and the like. So in what we are doing, all metering system, the reforms for Salwako and Guma, they will be robust in the implementation of this project. So I would like to extend deep thanks to the bank team that worked with the government officials and the minister for ensuring that we are able to have a very solid program that we're going to launch today. And I want to conclude, Your Excellency, by emphasizing that the Ministry of Finance remains dedicated to working with the sector and working with our partners to ensuring that implementation of these programs are done in a way that will be able to harness the resources from other partners to grow and invest in all the other aspects that are required. We remain committed in our support to our development partners to join us in making sure the ministry does well to deliver on your vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for your good work and for your kind words here today. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will hear from the person who's in the driving seats of this project. My colleague is the Honorable Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. So please allow me 30 seconds to just tell you how decorated my colleague is. Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister in 1985 enrolled at Private College. And She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts, Sociology and History in 1990. Your Excellency, in 1991, she then enrolled at the Obafemi Awolowo University, where she graduated with a Master of Science in Sociology and Anthropology, specialized in social change and development. Your Excellency, she then went back to university in 2012 to the University of Maryland, and she graduated with a Master of Business Administration. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleague, the Minister, then enrolled at Howard University in the year 2013, where she graduated in 2016 with a PhD in Public Policy and Development, African Studies and Research. As if all that Bukudi not do, this woman don't get double masters and PhD. Now listen. In 2021, she enrolled again at Trabe College. And in 2024, last year, she was one of the top performing law students who graduated with a Bachelor of Laws LLB. Ladies and gentlemen, we get Okuma as the Minister. Let's put our hands together for her. I think she's an embodiment of President Leo's commitment to gender equality and women's empowerment, and a shining example to the daughters of Sierra Leone that when you embrace education, education will embrace you. Please welcome Dr. Sawa Kohana Aisha Makati.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I was light, I would have been blushing. But thank you for that resume. At times I forget some of these things, but thank God you reminded me. Your Excellency, good morning again from my side. And I want to ask that I stand on the existing protocol. Today is a very pleasant moment for me as your first Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. And I'm sure the women here are all proud. We're the women. So that we have the first Minister being a woman. But that is a manifestation, Your Excellency, of your commitment in promoting women, making your development strategy very inclusive. So today I stand here to present the key things that we've been doing in the water sector and primarily why we're here today. This presentation is going to focus on the WASH poverty diagnosis, which I'll talk about, the National WASH Sector Development Program, and the framing of the water sector using the new approach, which is the multi-phase approach. Your Excellency, when we came into governance, and specifically when I went to the ministry, through the leadership provided by you, we have been doing a lot in the sector. Institutional reform, which saw the creation of a new ministry, the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, where it was very necessary that WASH issues be combined with water. This is where we are. I think that's a very good policy attention that the sector deserved. Because for the longest time, as previous speakers have said, the sector was very disjointed. A lot was being done, but not coordinated at that highest level of policy. So thank you for that ministry. And then the creation, the Water Resource Management Agency operationalized, looking at monitoring, regulating, and protecting our water resources. We continue to strengthen our water utilities, primarily Aguma Valley for Western area and Sawako for the regions. We have launched the Water Fund to support watershed management and climate adaptation, the work that we're doing with our NGO partners, CRS, and the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. And then, of course, through the Ministry of Development, the medium-term national development framework that runs from 2024 to 2030 stresses the need for human capital development, again, which is a manifestation of your flagship in your first term and continued in your second term, with emphasis on scaling up investment in water, environmental sanitation, waste management, and hygiene. Your Excellency, why did all of this happen? Why did you have that foresight? Why did us as a ministry embark on all of this? It is because of the existing context in the water sector which precipitated a response to some of the major shortcomings within the sector, and that has been nicely put in the poverty diagnostics, which was jointly done by the ministry and the World Bank, commissioned by the World Bank, and it has been aptly titled A Paradox of Scarcity in Abundance. We all know that Leone is a country with abundant water resources, 7 rivers flowing from north to south, and we're surrounded by the Atlantic. I mean, we have so much abundant water, but then challenges prevail. 2.256 millimeters annual rainfall, that's huge, a lot of water. But 60% of water tested in Freetown were contaminated with E. coli. 36% tree cover less 29.7 acres of primary forest suppression and encroachment were sharply increasing. We know a lot of human activities, coal burning, stone breaking. Over 3 million Sierra Leoneans do not have access to at least basic water. And then close to 50 of us have access to basic sanitation, 16% performing open defecation. 70% of the population, of course, do not have access to hygiene facilities. The diagnostic revealed in summary terms, access to basic water stands at 63%, access to basic sanitation stands at 32%, open defecation 25%, and access to basic hygiene 12%, which means that we have weak water resource management, which threatens reliability and expansion of the service itself, the water service, limited infrastructure and inadequate operation and maintenance practices, investment in the water sector very limited. That is why we will be talking a lot about private sector investment for a very attractive sector. Limited coordination, which undermines effectiveness and sustainability. That, again, I think is one of the serious issues which the creation of the ministry has gone a long way into solving. Then we see the sector inefficiency and capacity gaps, which continue to constrain performance. We're talking about the technology, the know-how. That is why, as previous speakers mentioned, we are partnering with Broadway College to see how we can build the academic capacity, getting people ready to go into the sector. Your Excellency, it is also good to look at the benefits that investing in water will bring to this country. And I think the World Bank country manager did state that $1 invested in the water sector would produce $7 return, which is quite huge. But we know that it is an investment that is worth it because poor wash contributes to child mortality high child mortality in Sierra Leone. We are looking at 69.5 per 100,000 for Sierra Leone in comparison to Sub-Saharan Africa that has an average of 48 per 100,000. And that is why we work extensively with our colleagues in the Ministry of Health, because the two go hand in hand. And poor wash also explains for 30% of water burden in waterborne diseases in Sierra Leone, diarrhea, which is 12.3. And then the education benefits, we see wash facilities at schools at 5 to 10% increase in attendance because we have increased that, and basic hygiene for girls through the innovative work of our First Lady with the project with schools, girls in schools. Also, we see that if we don't invest in WASH, it's going to have economic benefit because we'll see 5% of our GDP going down because of diseases. If we want to invest in that, if we want to have people doing agriculture, they have to be healthy. If we have to have people engaging in economic activities, they have to be healthy. So, and getting that help is directly linked with clean water facilities, safe water. So when we look at all of these coming from the diagnostic study, there are certain recommendations that were made which are in line with what came out of the study. First, to strengthen the institutional capacity and improve wash delivery efficiency, facilitate coordination among key government actors and development partners to see how we can streamline the sector in terms of financing and in terms of investment. We also looked at safeguarding our water resources and expanding rural and urban water supply, not just restricting it to urban areas. We also invested in inclusive, one of the recommendations to invest in inclusive sanitation and hygiene with a gender-responsive approach and priority for washing schools and healthcare facilities. That is why you see that subsequently when I talk about the project, you will see how we work with the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Health. That is why you see we have deliberately today brought some of our school children to celebrate this moment with us as one of our target beneficiaries. We will also, as a recommendation, look at strengthening solid waste management, which is a huge problem in the country. And definitely, without proper solid waste management systems, it multiplies into increased diseases. So the implementation of these recommendations require a clear roadmap. It has to be very focused and coordinated. Next slide. It is because of that that the Ministry of Water Resources, working with all the key agencies and the World Bank, developed what we have called the National Wash Sector Development Program for Sierra Leone, which is a 10-year program, 2025 to 2035, with a clear vision at the end of the implementation of that. We want to see a water secure and sanitation safe Sierra Leone through efficient and resilient water institutions by 2035. Very straightforward and simple. And what are our targets? We will enhance water resource management and achieve universal access by 2035. We will eliminate open defecation and achieve universal access to at least basic sanitation while improving access to hygiene by 2035. And then institutional strengthening and capacity building for all water sector institutions, not just the ministry, both not also at central level, but also right down to local councils. All of this is what we want to do as a government. All of this is what is required to be done. And in terms of putting monetary value to it, it's going to cost a huge sum of money, 1.7 billion if we have to achieve that. But it is not a goal that is impossible to achieve. That is 170 million annually. That is why we say we have a coordinated approach where we have our partners in the bank, but primarily, of course, the government. Government budgetary support will definitely be, because as a government, we own this project. It is the responsibility of government, and that is what we have proved. We will have government support on that. We will have support of bilateral and multilateral arrangements, relationships, Sierra Leone and other countries and bodies like the bank. So it's going to be a multifaceted. We have our NGO partners, so it's not like the 1.7 billion coming from one source, but it's going to be accumulated. Now of that, the World Bank has committed 180 million for a multi-phase approach to support this national program. And this is what I want to explain clearly what it entails, what the 180 million entails. It's going to be a phased program, 3 phases. The first phase will be from September of 2025 to December of 2030. And what will that phase be looking at? It will look at institutional and capacity strengthening, wash priority investments to improve services, that is supporting reforms, enabling for an enabling environment, improving wash services in the Western area, and prepare programs and investment for the approach for the next 2 phases. Even though in terms of practical terms, we will be having those projects in the Western area, but we will see that the capacity strengthening is not limited to the Western area. It's going to include agencies like Sawako, for example, that also delivers services in the regions. The second phase will run from June of 2028 to December of 2033. And for that, we will continue system strengthening and scale up support and water priority investments. What will we do? We'll mobilize water resources, access, strengthening institutions in the Western area, services in secondary cities, that is, we're moving into the regions where we look at secondary cities, major cities like Bo, Kenema, Kono, and the like, and all the big towns, where we will look at the water services and launch an open defecation-free campaign in Sierra Leone, so that by the end of 2035, we will have an open defecation-free country. Now the third phase will run from December of 2030 to 2035. Your Excellency, here we will continue those system strengthening and priority interventions, improving water services, priority and access. We continue to strengthen our institutions and capacity in rural areas. We will mobilize water resources, improve water services and access, and make Sierra Leone open defecation free. So it is like building on what we would have achieved in the first and second phase to make sure that we, by the target time of 2035, we have achieved our goal. Your Excellency, this is a picture which shows the coverage, the area coverage in terms of the various phases. We look at the first phase in the western area with Freetown on the ground. When we go to the second phase, we will maintain certain aspects, continue our institutional strengthening, but also go into major towns in all of the districts. You see, that is where we have the orange points, which is secondary cities, entire country. And of course, the third phase, the whole country collectively would have been achieved. So that gives a picture. So I want to say this in Creole. For we found them, we want this very important. Let me see this national program where the government don't put together with the partner. Let me see say now 3 phase them it gets 3 parts. The first part when at phase 1, we go look at the western area where we go do a lot of things for strengthening the ministry, we strengthen with other partners the way they work in WASH. Then when we go to the second phase, we they move, we know they just promote all our western area because we go still get for the good strengthening and improving the access. But we go look at that with major city them upline, where we now we districts them. We know say a lot of the population they are then siding. We go look at the, you can see the orange, we go to Okolili, we go Calabar, we go Kailan, all the districts them, we go there, not just one. And then when we go to the phase 3 now, when at the last rush, when at the last for we talk to 2035, we will make sure say at least the whole country we don't get water access, open defecation, institutional strengthening. So now one more process, not a one-time business. Now that make the government they make sure they put things in place, but then we begin this journey. Now patrol way we don't start now, and by 2035 that patrol will for done and we for don't see the benefits. Let's go to the next slide. Your Excellency, each phase of this approach will be structured around 4 components. The 4 major components that will be seen in each of these stages is 1, the institutional and capacity building, which I talked about earlier. And that definitely will be championed by the ministry as the policy holder and a structure that you have confidently put together as the Ministry of Water and Sanitation to take on the institutional strengthening and capacity building. The second one will be water resource management improvement. A lot of talk has gone into how we manage and protect our water resources from our rivers up country that are contaminated through mining activities to our water catchment area, the Western Area Peninsula, human activities, construction, coal burning, stone breaking. So that human resource, water resource management, we look at all of this to see how we will work with communities, work with all partners to ensure that we protect our water catchment areas. And then the third component will be investing in water supply, where we will see our agencies, the delivery agencies, Guma Valley Water Supply, water company, Sawako, operating in that space. And we want to see, as all the speakers have said, we'll see a lot of private sector investment also in that space to make sure that we take the water down to our people. And then the fourth component, which is sanitation service delivery improvement, is where we will see a lot of collaboration with the Minister of Community Development, the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, where the local councils sit. We will be working with all the local councils. In the Western area, we will work with the FCC, and I see the mayor here. We have been working on this together. We also have been working with the chairman of Ward C, that is the Waterloo Rural District Council. When we move to the regions, we will also be working with all city and district councils to ensure that we have sanitation service delivery, because implementation of sanitation has been decentralized, but the policy stays with the ministry. So we'll work together to ensure that happens. And one of the major activities we are looking at, which came out of the diagnostic study, is how we dispose of our liquid and solid waste, which are a major threat to health. So, Your Excellency, I will end. Let me, in conclusion, say it's a very systematic approach, looking at it at 3 levels. We have the diagnostic study, which informed the development of the National Water Sector Program, that's the tender program. And at the end of the day, we're using the more value-based approach to make sure we roll down the strategy into different parts of the country. So before I end, Your Excellency, I would crave your indulgence that I use this platform to also recognize the work that has gone into this and the key players that we worked with to achieve this. We have our MBA partners, all the sector of ministries, and the ministers are here. We want to say thank you to those ministers that worked with us tirelessly. The Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, because these are very key. But notwithstanding, we did also get support from other ministers, and we want to recognize that in your presence, Your Excellency. Then our agencies, they are represented here by their heads of entity and the boards. The Guma Valley Water Company, MD and board, the Salwako, which is the Swahili Water Company, the chairman, the head and the board, NWRMA, the board chairman and the head, and then of course SLPWRC. And at the level of our local councils, we have our worship, the mayor here, and the chairman of the Ward C. I want to also use this opportunity to say thank you to the World Bank team that we worked with. I want to also deliberately call them out. Xavier, if you're here, it would be good so that we see you. Xavier, we have Judith, we have Victor. That's the team that we worked with. And we want to appreciate the work that you did with us. And of course, our beneficiaries in communities, you and your participation helped inform all of these processes. That is why we are very appreciative of the fact that you're here. And Your Excellency, at the back of the group, we actually have a lot of people from our communities to help us grace the occasion today. And last but not least, I want to shout out to my staff of the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, represented by the Permanent Secretary. Thank you.
Substantive, in-depth, thorough, and of the highest quality. President Bio, you talk, you did do. You talk up, see you empower and put women in charge, you support education, you will promote all the things you said, and I think the Honorable Minister just bring that to life for all of us. Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Friends, we're going to take a very brief break before we come to the highest points of today's event. And for that, I'm delighted to welcome an iconic group in the theater industry in Sierra Leone. Let's put two hands together for the one and only Tabule Theater.
What Sanitation. When they don't join up with wash, so they go boost the game na this point.
Concerning water, so I then I'm in corner, I give you talk of water, do ya eat me more?
Hey, me picking, tsgade, we dey get pure, fresh, clean, safe, and cocoa water. And now we know they get some. Because if they see people and they cut the pipe there, this side water go the west, no, the water not they will go other side and that. So box up. But now, no worry. We dey fair way. For now we make, we step, all side get water. You go get water, me go get water, we all go get water. We dey find solution to this.
But still say, even the Queen self na England, they get water for drink.
Now the rumor we dey say, but internet na true. Yes, because we dey see sheep then they come. When sheep then they come, we dey see them they build drum then they can go. Now we water them they can go. So because we water be pure, fresh and clean.
But waiting cause now all these women they get the same clean water again as we used to forget.
Come.
You would have shown a lot of control yesterday. Everyone knows it's that's not water business, this complaint will not get us several in a police station. Say we will destroy the property the way government put for their water camp, they will destroy themselves. Nobody moves. Yes.
You see, even that last year, whenever they make the road, whenever they come to that comes from the company, we don't see the rest of Africa. So water is there, and this is the police business.
Gentlemen,
you want to
this, we have to explain ourselves. The ministry of water.
Well, you see, now one parent here story and Boguio, cause quite now they defect for water.
Eh? Well, I'm still I don't see, and I'm glad for waiting as he so.
Now me, now you, now we all. How? If we all come together, we say this for tap, it go tap. But remember, you where they build us, you where they build us near water, you for stop. You where they cut stick up that hill, you for stop. You say where they go and put that stone there, you say you they do stone mining, you for stop. Because all that one day they affect the water. And the Lord, and this ministry don't map Skangawa for make them lawyer all water. Now I make them and the government. You see what they add there? They add wash. That means that water they go with hygiene. So if they don't add wash for this ministry also, the Lord will let you not big allegiance. The Lord they catch you. The Lord they catch you. So now we all stop for now we get safe, pure, fresh, and water na mama sale.